Also remind the persons in attendance that the public meeting laws are available in the office of clerk, posted there permanently. At this time, we'll take comments from the public on agenda items. Sheila, did you want to?
Yes, I was told that my name was up for consideration about being on the fire department, and I would just like to let everybody know that I would like to be added to the roster again. I know I was on it before. I was always at the meetings, at the fire calls. I went to all the trainings just like everybody else did, and being out of district I don't think will really affect me all that much. I still go just as much as everybody else. So I would just like to really be considered for it rather than be turned away because I live out of district.
Sheila, let me ask you something, because I just want to make sure I'm on the right page here. You were in the department.
Yes.
And when you came on the department, you lived in the district.
Yes, I live
And then,
Hurwitz.
were you living in the district when you dropped out? Or did you drop out after you went to Bruning?
We had moved to Western,
Okay.
and I was pregnant and put on bed rest, and I left the department then.
Okay. And then, so now you're reapplying?
Yes.
Okay.
And we live in Bruning, well, outside of Bruning.
Okay. Does anybody else, would any,
I just,
want to ask Sheila a question?
Well, no,
I'm not sure
I-
she's going to stay, that's why I'm asking.
yeah, I did want to make a comment. I know that they had a fire Saturday, and I was told Sheila was the only fire person that responded Saturday.
There was more than just me
Well,
there.
first, you were the only one that responded, I was told. Not true.
Diane?
What, no, Diane responded also. And
But some others finally did.
yes,
Yeah.
Danielle and I were
Yeah.
of the first three there. Diane beat
Yeah.
us there, and it was then Danielle and I who, we both live out of district.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Sheila? Sheila, as I said, if you stay, I may ask you to comment later or not. I don't know whether.
I'll stay.
Okay. Anybody else with the items, comments that they'd like to make on agenda items? At this
These are
time.
agendas. Yeah, I do. I have a question.
All right,
This is on the treasurer's report.
okay.
Speak up. This is Buckley Lawn Service, July mowing, $500. You know, I wouldn't have any objection to it if they mowed all of it. If you mow half of it and save the other half to hay, it's like giving them an extra $300. I'm affiliated with a farm in southern Missouri. If you bale your hay and sell it, you get money back. So therefore, somewhere along the line, we should have got some money back.
Are you referring to the ball field?
I'm referring to the ball field and the back half of the park.
When we, right, that's a fair question, but when we let that, or renewed that, that was the understanding, the last 2 years, was that rather than increase the cost significantly, we would allow them to take the hay from those two areas. That was part of the discussion at the time that the matter was brought before the board.
That was one of them private meetings?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay, I got one
I
other,
don't film all the meetings, so you can check your film, I guess.
I got
But
one other,
Go online, no, Rich?
I got one other question. This League of Municipalities, what the hell's that?
That's the statewide organization that provides the updates on village ordinances primarily. That's our primary benefit.
Well, that's the one where you find out what you're gonna hammer us with.
If you want to put it that way.
Okay, just curious.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, I'm going to quickly speak to the lagoon project because the progress has been all in the last 2 or 3 days. after making some inquiries, we were told that the late spring rains delayed their progress on some other projects, and so start here was delayed, and the trade-off would be that they'd bring more equipment on site, which they may have. I was out there about an hour before the meeting, and there were 3 pickup loads of guys leaving, and there's a significant amount of equipment out there, and some dirt has been moved since Monday, but there isn't a whole lot to report, because basically that's when they started. So, any board members have any questions? I did, when we had our pre-project meeting with the architect and the contractor, a couple of issues arose. One was whether or not we could use that well to fill the lagoons. I guess, and I spoke to him about that tonight, and he said preliminarily he thought it was going to be a go. And the other was laying pipe across Smith's, you know, temporarily. And he said that was approved. So they are getting some cooperation from the Smith family, as I understand it. The item number 4, the vandalism issue. I did order windows from Bacon Lumber probably about shortly after the last meeting, probably 3 weeks ago, because and they're probably still 3 weeks out. He said 5 to 6 weeks to get them. After I got the bid from Bacon Lumber, which was about $500 higher than the bid from Fairbury Glass, maybe not quite 5, but 4 and change. I called the adjuster and said, you know, I think this is the better solution, even though it's a higher price, and I don't think I know we're not comparing apples to apples here, because one is glass and the other is a plastic block, but he concurred that the risk going forward would be less, and he wasn't going to argue about $400 some, so they gave me the go-ahead, and I ordered the windows. And I think the meter, I'm pretty sure, I know the meter's been replaced on the back of the library. I don't know when that was done, sometime last week.
Yeah, last week.
We don't have a bill for that.
No, and they did fix the breaker deal.
Okay, but that didn't have anything to do with the vandalism per se. We had a bad breaker on the back side of the community building. They did while they were here. So, do you know if the electrician was going to turn that over to?
No, I'll give him a call tomorrow and check if you want me to.
Would you do that?
Okay.
We need to get that bill into the hands of the insurance company.
And I have a gallon of paint mixed up, ready to pick up down at.
Okay, how about labor?
No, I'll get those together, so maybe by next month we can wrap this up.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's about the only thing that should be the only thing that's hanging fire then.
Yeah. Hopefully he thought it was going to be a little less expensive. He had talked to the electrical inspector and was going to be able to use our box down here.
So this, are you talking about?
In the basement, yeah.
Okay.
So he said that was approved. It also made the permit a little less by not having to change as much out, so.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on how we're doing there, or the vandalism?
Yeah, and we don't have any more.
Never ever did get anything back from the sheriff's department in terms of their investigation, or whether they, evidently they didn't get anybody, find anybody, or arrest anybody, or charge anybody, which is not a huge surprise.
I know, something I thought about the other day, do you think I don't know if this could even be feasibly possible, offer any kind of reward for the arrest and, prosecution of the guilty parties? Could we talk to, is that a doable thing? Sometimes people start squeaking when
Well, I think it's probably a
something we
legitimate,
could think
a
about.
legitimate use of
Yeah.
money, but that'd probably have to be a fairly modest amount.
Yeah, I mean, something I'd say that the board think about it and see if that's something we might consider.
We did do that at school from time to time.
Did that
I don't
sometimes come
remember whether
forward?
it worked or not, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But it wasn't in a huge amount, I'm
Wasn't a
talking
huge amount.
$100, that sort of thing, you know,
Oh, okay.
because it is public funds. And you'd have to make it probably that somebody was charged.
That's what I mean, yeah, that just wouldn't be, yeah,
I
but that,
think you
yeah.
can have to guarantee a conviction. or
Guarantee the
something.
conviction, that's what I mean, yeah. Have to be a guarantee.
No, I wouldn't do that, I don't think.
You know,
I don't think you could, nobody out there can say that they can guarantee a conviction. They could just provide what information
Oh,
they
okay.
have.
Well, because you see these things on television, you know.
Yes,
And
I
I don't
remember
know.
you can't believe everything
Well, I
you see
know.
on television or on the
The
internet.
Crime Stoppers, I guess is what I see, but that's a whole different,
Well, that's something you might want to think about. It certainly can't hurt anything.
I'd have to ask and make sure that's even, with law enforcement, that's a doable thing any person could consider.
Or how they handle it normally.
I don't know. But I have seen rewards
Sure.
offered
Yeah,
for,
a lot of times that reward is private money, private
Yeah.
person step forward. And that's a possibility too.
Mhm.
This next item on the fire department, there's several issues there. And probably when this was sent to us by the fire department, I'm gonna say it was a couple months ago. And we probably should have separated. The request at that time was to approve the addition of Evan Skiles and Sheila Durflinger to the roster of the fire department, if I remember correctly. And we declined to do that at that time. We probably should have separated the two at that time, because the issue with Sheila was this one of residence that we recently spoke to, which had nothing to do with Evan. He was already in residence, living in the community. I'm not sure if the base is in the district or
Yeah, it
not.
is.
But, is it, John?
Yeah.
Okay. So he both lives and works in the district. Thank you, young man. And so we probably should have separated the two at the time, but we didn't. So the first issue that I'd like to address is to approve Evan. You can see I was given this roster earlier this week. I think Monday night, Diane Vorderstrass brought this over to me. And this is the current roster for the fire department. And you will see that Evan is listed, as is Sheila, and as is Brent Wolf, another person who lives outside the district whose name came up at that time under discussion. But I'd like to deal first with Evan. And I think there's no reason not to approve him. There's nothing controversial about his application. He lives and works in the district. So if I could have a motion to that effect.
Even though he's moving out of town to the country?
I didn't know that he was.
Yeah, at the end of the month.
Evan?
Yeah, Evan, one that bought
My
your house?
neighbor?
Yes. You didn't know?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry to,
Well, he
yeah.
doesn't tell me of it.
Yeah,
Grandma and Grandpa's, that's still in the fire district.
yeah, that's where they're moving to is, her grandparents' home, north
Is that?
of town.
Oh, that's
Simon.
Lion
Simon.
Gracie's, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and that's, I guess he would still be in our district. I'm thinking.
I know he is.
Yeah.
I know
Okay.
that is.
Okay, well, that's the only thing I was,
But I didn't know he was.
yeah, he is.
Okay, so that
I mean-
doesn't change it. He is a resident, does work.
He wants to respond, right? That there's a fire, he's
Well,
gonna
yeah,
respond.
yeah, he'll.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
The issue is who answers the calls. And,
Not very damn many.
but also an issue is if we're carrying these people on the roster, they need to be approved by the village board.
And rural.
Otherwise, I have
also.
some serious concerns about in terms of insurance coverage.
Mhm.
Can I ask a question? And it has to do with this. When they're on a call, when you're talking about insurance, is the insurance covering the person when they're on call and they're on their way to,
Yeah,
if they get in a wreck or
I'm
something?
pretty sure they are. Because that has happened since
Yeah, I was just
we've had
curious.
an injury in that. And it was
Okay.
covered. Yes.
Is there some attendance record that shows how many people on that list actually show up for the meetings and the
I'm sure
fires?
the department carries.
Yes, we take roll call every meeting.
What about at the?
Yeah, we take it on
Yes,
fire too.
we take it on fires. Also,
And
we have to do it
trainings.
for reports. And training, we have to do it for reports.
You did ask for a motion. I did ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make
Yeah.
that motion.
We needed
Stick
that.
your hand up. He has a question. This man does.
I just wonder if Powell, I have property, my mom lives in Powell, we're pay for the L leak. Do you guys consider that part of your district?
Yeah, half the
If
town,
you-
we got half the town.
You do consider it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where Eric Milius lives is also in the fire district too. South.
Yeah, south, okay.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve Evan Skiles' addition to the roster of the fire department. Is there any other discussion on that particular issue?
Can I just, really quick, for anybody who is interested in seeing the fire district that we cover or our attendance records or anything like that, you are more than welcome to come to any meeting. Our meetings are every second Monday of the month. And it is usually, I believe it's posted somewhere that we have a fire meeting. And it's open meetings, you are welcome to come anytime if you'd like to see any of that stuff.
What time?
7:30 usually.
Most of them are 7:30.
But I went there last year, like 2 months in a row, and it was closed, and then I called Bookley, and, oh yeah, we just don't have it all the time. They advertise it in the Meridian
There are times,
newsletter.
The Meridian
but-
newsletter's not always right.
no.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
You
whoa.
need to quit.
I appreciate your interest in your discussion, but we already have a motion here relative to.
Sorry.
I'm sure that's good. You've got good questions. I don't know if it has anything to do with the item. So, can I have got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on Evan? If not, Mark, Jeremy,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Marge,
Yes,
and I'll vote yes. Okay. Now,
yeah, cover some other stuff there.
moving down to the next item, the department application requirements. It's my understanding, again, and this comes from the chief, Mr. Matt Bookley, and also board member and person on the department, Richie Burkhardt, that the issue with Sheila is, when she applied initially, she was a resident of the district. And then, for very good reason, she dropped out. And then she has subsequently reapplied, but now when she reapplies, she doesn't live in the fire district or work in the fire district. And that, the department requires that you live or work in the district in order to meet their requirements for membership. At the time of application, you either work or that's part of the requirement. I hope I'm not misspeaking. And so that's the issue here with Sheila. And then the further issue, and I discussed this with the two gentlemen when we were looking at the Williams property earlier this month, is this business that we brought up, and also has risen tonight, and that is whether or not you can respond to a call. one thing I can't do, I can't change the members, I can't change the requirements of the department. So if we approve Sheila, we're approving Sheila even though the department requirements would exclude her. If I'm misspeaking, someone sure can correct me.
We've already waived that when we voted her on the department as the department though.
That is correct. That's why her name is on the list,
Yeah.
I assume.
So
So,
you guys voted already?
Yeah.
Yes.
the department in fact has waived the requirement. And now, we're being asked to waive the requirement as well.
Yeah.
Basically,
That, well, that's what I'm hearing.
yes.
Okay, I just think we ought to understand what it, and you understand what I'm saying. If we don't approve Sheila and they carry her on the roster, I think it's very unwise for her, I think it's very unwise for us. And I wouldn't put her in that position.
If you declined the request to waive it and allow me on the department would actually not be allowed to have me on the department if I don't have insurance coverage. So I would,
So you,
I would basically
that
not,
would
I would
take
not
care
be,
of
on-
the.
yes.
And the rural board also has to approve.
And the rural board also has to approve it, yes.
But if you didn't approve Sheila, we could go down the fireman's list and find a reason why we can't have half the department on there. A flaw on every one of us.
Well, that may or may not be. I'm not aware of other issues. We were requested to approve these two persons, and we did not. We put them together, and we did not approve them, mainly because of Sheila's lack of residence. Now, she's not the only one that's not a resident,
True.
but the difference is that she's not a resident at the time of application. It also then raises the issue of, if you are on the department, move out of the fire district, is your membership automatically dropped? It hasn't been, because some of those people were really good attenders of meetings and trainings and that sort of thing. So I would wonder, one of the things that I thought, and this is just, I don't know, I'm going to have to see if any other board member has any thoughts on this. We're going to have to do something, in fairness to them.
Can I also add that I live 4 miles outside of the district, and I have responded to fire calls and been to meetings since I thought I was accepted into the fire department.
You mean since this most recent
Yes.
application? Okay, thank you, Sheila. That's helpful to me, because one of the things that I was, I think the department needs to address this as well.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? If they're not going to follow their own bylaws, if they're going to make exception to their bylaws, then they maybe need to change the bylaws.
I agree.
I think that I'll get back to what the key thing is. Does the person in question or persons in question respond? And since they're, I would say, if someone's on the department, lives outside the district, and doesn't respond to a call over a specific period of time, whether it's 12, 15, I don't care, 6 months, you say, then they are dropped from the rolls. But if they're an active member responding to calls,
That actually is in our bylaws for everyone on the department, regardless of where you live. We have it that if you don't attend meetings for so many months, you come up to review and we can,
I understand that, but I think there's a difference, Sheila, between meetings and responding to calls.
I mean both. For responding and meetings and trainings as well.
Okay, but we also have to address that there's no question or no issue with persons who live or reside, work in the district. The question is those who do not.
Okay.
And do we want to make the exception that the department has apparently made? I'm not even sure what I'm saying myself.
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying, Steve.
Well, I don't think it's that convoluted. It's a question of, one of the things is we're not overwhelmed by people applying for membership.
I think the biggest selling point is this latest fire of her being one of the first 3 to
That's
respond.
relevant. That's relevant.
When there's plenty closer.
Well, my experience was, when I was on, you're lucky to get anybody to come.
Yeah.
If
That's
you have
a
somebody
fact.
that's gonna come, you know, wherever they live, I think would be
And
worth having.
Exactly.
can I just add that
Right.
everyone here knows that Daniel is my husband, and Daniel has not missed, but I think maybe 2 fire calls in the entire time he's been on. Well, I ride with him when I go to fire calls, so it's not that I wouldn't be there.
Okay. What's your pleasure, gentlemen, ladies? Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept her,
To waive the,
waive it just like they did. Waive their rules.
Second that. We need people that respond. That's important.
okay, we have a motion and a
We need
second.
people, not boundary lines.
Is there any other
We
discussion?
need people, not boundaries.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna call the question now. Marge?
Democrat.
Yes.
How's that?
What?
Yeah.
Easy.
Jim?
Yes.
Easy.
I'll vote yes. I'm going to suggest, and this is not part of the motion, you don't have to do anything,
Okay.
but I probably will anyway. I think they do need to review their own bylaws
Okay.
with an eye toward people responding to calls. Okay, and that doesn't necessarily have to be, I think they would need to review their bylaws with regard to membership. And to sustain membership, whether you're in the district or not in the district, that you have responded to a call within a certain number of months.
Okay.
And I'll speak to Matt myself about that. I already
The calls
have.
are more important than,
Huh?
to me, the calls are more
Yeah.
important than.
I agree.
Okay?
Smoke.
Thank you, Sheila.
Yep.
If
Thank
you got
you.
kids to watch, I'd get to going.
I do. I have.
Because I think that covers item B, membership review issues as well.
Are you done here?
No.
I'll
Now, thank you both for your input, because I'm not very well versed on the fire department. Rural Fire District Annual Meeting, attendance report. Mrs. Derflinger and I attended that meeting. When was it, the 16th or something of July? Last month, in any event. Trying to our effort was directed to persuade the rural board, rather than the department, to cooperate with the village in raising property if it's owned by the village, and specifically the Williams property, which we've been trying to do something with for some time. And I guess I didn't feel like we got a real positive reception at the time, but I may have misread that a little bit, because there were some board members and some department members that were supportive if a structure offered training requirements, and the person that would decide that would be the state fire marshal. So I didn't think anything would come of frankly, of our attendance at that meeting. I thought we kind of were whistling in the wind. And then here, a couple weeks ago, I got a call, and they had the state fire marshal down, and they asked me to come over to the Williams property, and he opined while we were, I was there with Rich Burkhardt and Matt Buckley, that that structure did have some training value, albeit it wasn't ideal, but a training could be performed there. And so the department, I'm sure, was going to take it back to the rural board in September and ask for approval to conduct a training there and finish raising that structure. But I don't know how the rural board, which is comprised of 5 persons, will vote on that. I'm pretty certain it won't be unanimous in any event. But the issue is still alive, I guess. And there are persons on the department and on the board that are trying to work with the village. So that's encouraging. The other thing that I learned was that, and we talked about this before, if we're going to conduct a training, the village is going to have to own the property because of the rural board is not going to vote because of liability issues to raise a private structure. There's a good news, bad news element to that, I guess. If a house that has 4 walls and a roof is deeded over to the village, there's a good chance we can use it for a training site. The reason there's a question about these already burned buildings is their value as training sites, and the fact that we don't own but one. Okay?
I got a question, and it pertains to your owning property. What are you gonna do with it after you own it, and after you burn the building off or whatever?
Well, we'll probably offer it for sale if somebody's willing to pay the cost
Well,
of whatever
my
cleanup is.
problem with that is you seem to be buying up property and never turning loose of it. After a while, our tax rolls begin to dwindle and the homemakers begin to get stuck with more of it.
Well, I don't think that applies to buildings that we burned, except Mark's.
You got one right here behind.
We
Mark,
didn't, that was given to us.
we got Mark DeWalds as one.
Snyder property was given to us.
No, Mark DeWalds over here, across from you,
Yeah, that was.
is ours. And-
How about the one
Yeah, I know.
across where the
But-
gas
but
But you had to
station was?
bid to get that.
No,
13,
that was given to us.
that, where the
No.
station
No,
was?
they're talking about straight across
Where
south
Next
of,
to
Mark
Daniel's
DeWalds
house.
property.
That's the one you're talking about?
next to
The
Daniel's.
station,
I'm
where the
talking
gas
about
station
all of
was.
it. I'm
Well, we
talking
really
about the
don't
one
want
back
the
here,
one-
the one where the station is, the one up behind your nephew's house. Yeah, I've been seeing the city mower up there.
Well, in the case of this property, if somebody wants to pay the cost attendant to the cleanup, they're probably welcome to have it. But we'll still have cleanup costs after the burn, plus we've still got 2 buildings full of trash sitting there. So it's not gonna be a freebie after the burn. There's still gonna be cost in cleaning it up.
Steve, may I ask a question, please? Where are you seeing the city's mower?
Behind Phillips's house, across the alley.
I don't believe the city mower has been out of that.
Oakley's been there.
I don't believe so.
Well, Buckley works for other people. He isn't just employed by the city.
Are you talking about what Matt uses, or Jason uses? That's his equipment.
I don't, yeah,
That's Jason's
oh,
equipment.
okay.
Yeah, he doesn't use his ability to.
I just thought it was city property being the city man was mowing it.
No,
No, we just contract the mowing. He mows for other people, he mows for the church.
a lot of
he
people
mows
in
for-
town.
Yeah, he mows for a lot
Milt
of
Lewis,
people.
Mrs.
He mows for a lot of people.
Okay, claims treasure report and minutes. Oh, I've got to add some bills. There's, bill from Hines Construction for $5,348.80. I'll repeat that, $5,348.80. That was the balance owing on street repairs. Garbage Company South, it's a corrected amount, $1,032.50. It's $1,006.25.
Even.
$1,006.25.
Yeah.
Oh,
$1,006.25. And finally, Johnson Service, we had the money in hand to pay them to open the sewer to the Herring Harding property, and that was $600. So that's flow-through money. Mr. Harding has already provided the money for that. And so that makes the total of the bills $18,927.51. $18,927.51. And there's one bill there that I need to comment on. I mentioned it last meeting. Beatrice Concrete, the rock and clay went on Harbine Street north of 6th between Jim Van Westen and Rich Schultz. And then Mr. Buckley did the spread it out. And it turned out real well.
Held good.
I went right up there after the heavy rain, and I was kind of surprised.
Held real good.
Yeah, it did. And as soon as it kind of works in, it won't be quite so juicy.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to comment on the Fairbury Light and Water, the sewer repair.
Yeah.
What is that?
$374. Had a little bit of a plug up in the splitter box, so I contacted Dennis Gaston. He came down and he cleaned the splitter box. He also cleaned the manhole in Don Martin's pasture before it gets to the splitter box. So I asked him to do those two things, and that's where the $374 comes from.
Thank you.
Now we know.
Anybody have any questions on the bill, any other bill? Or the treasurer's report or the minutes?
I'll move that we accept the treasurer's report. Approve the minutes.
Any other discussion? Not, I'll call the question. Jim?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Marge?
Yes.
I vote yes. Send membership request is the annual appeal. I don't think we have a lot of choice since they're
Not really.
managing our project.
$275.
$275. Thank you. So, you want to make a
I'll move to approve the send membership.
Alright. For a second. I'll second. Motion and second to approve the membership request from Southeast Nebraska Developmental District. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. Jeremy?
Yes.
Marge?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mark? Yes. I'll vote yes. Alan, you have any kind of a report?
Yeah, I got a couple things. We did get sewer service open for Kevin Kevin Harding and Tina Herring. Like I said a little earlier, I had the splitter box cleaned. Also had Mike Lucas here a week ago. It'll be a week tomorrow and Friday. We do, every year we do what they call a 24-hour composite sample. It's for flow, TSS's, CVODs, and pH. And we got to do that once a year because you got a permit. And so we did that last Thursday and Friday.
Was this at the lagoon?
It's the split, it's the manhole right before
Okay.
the lagoons. I did shut the valves off. The flow was real slow. Decided to fill the lagoons back up a little bit, so I only had a discharge in the month of June. July, I shut it off. That's basically all I've got. Water samples, everything else came back.
Okay. While we're on the subject of Herring and Harding, did a temporary meter get installed on?
We put a temporary margin, and Jeremy were there, and I went up. We put a temporary meter there. We got the deposit for the water, and we put a temporary meter there.
I walked around and asked them what their plans were there on it, and the block they were using and stuff. So I haven't gone back up. Have you, Jeremy, to check? Probably need to.
I'm sure they'll let you know when they think it's.
That's basically all.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, that pretty much continues the extent, yes.
I have two quick questions. I'd like to see if Donna can find out where it is in the rules, how many meetings a board member is allowed to miss in a year. And there's also,
As long as they're excused, there's no limit,
okay,
if they're excused by the.
okay. And then, it's my understanding that we're losing a board member here in December.
Well, I'm not running for re-election.
Is your term up in November then?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I doubt that anybody would see it as a loss. I'm not, someone else will be on the board.
This is for on the lagoon project. The dirt that they're hauling off, are they taking it away from here when they're digging out the lagoons?
I don't know that there's any dirt going anywhere.
Is there no dirt going anywhere because, you
I
know?
would think that whatever, if there were any excess dirt, it'd be used to fill in the old lagoons.
Okay, because we've, kind of interested if, instead of shipping it off someplace else, there's a few of us that might like to buy a load or two, but,
There may be an opportunity, but that has never come up.
Okay.
That there was gonna be any excess dirt, so.
Yeah.
But I'll take, when that happens, then certainly.
Yeah, because, we're talking about, we'd like to have a couple of loads of dirt for this
You
McCandless
too.
property to
Why?
smooth
Okay.
it out.
Yeah, when you get all the votes, you don't split it.
So. Okay.
Yeah. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion and second.
Nobody else.
Discussion.
Oh, yeah, everybody knows.